Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kakuya. The title of today's Dharma talk is Reincarnation and Buddhist Universalism. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. Now, before I begin the Dharma talk today, I first want to ask for your patience and forbearance. These are ideas I have been noodling around in my head for quite a while. I haven't tried them out with an audience before. So I'm very interested to hear what you personally think about what I'm going to teach today. Let me know in the comments. I believe that everything I state is backed up by doctrine, but it's always good to ask. So let's get into it. One of the core tenets of Buddhism is the idea of universal Buddha nature. In other words, all sentient beings possess the seed of enlightenment within them. In a way, all sentient beings are Buddhas. The reason for this goes back to the teaching of Vasubandhu and the Trikaya doctrine. Our reality as we know it is made up of the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya, or transformation body of Buddha. That's us. In other words, all sentient beings are manifested from the truth body, the Dharmakaya of Buddha. Thus, we are all Buddha in the same way that all waves that manifest from the ocean are made of water. Thus, the practice of the Buddhist is not to attain enlightenment per se. It is to realize the enlightenment, the Buddhahood, which they already possess. Now, this sounds simple, but it's not, because our Buddhahood is covered over by the defilements of greed, anger, and ignorance. And because of our attachments, it's hard to cut through our defilements to see our Buddha nature, much less to manifest it in daily life. It's very much like having a buried treasure in your backyard. It takes a lot of work and a lot of digging to remove the soil to expose that treasure. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean the treasure isn't there. Similarly, just because we can't always see our Buddha nature through our greed, through our anger, through our ignorance, it doesn't mean it's not there. In fact, we are told in the Nirvana Sutra that the Buddha nature we possess is essentially impossible to destroy. No matter how good or bad we are in our lives, our Buddha nature, the seed of enlightenment, is always there. But how do we bring it out in daily life? Well, that's what Buddhist doctrine is for. The meditating, the chanting, the sutra study, we can think of it like a sponge that's scrubbing away the dirt of our defilements so that our Buddha nature can shine forth in daily life. And if we practice diligently, we can realize enlightenment right here in this lifetime. But what if we don't? Well, Buddhism teaches that throughout our lives we accumulate karma and merit based on our actions. So actions are in keeping with the doctrine of Buddhism: generosity, equanimity, compassion, cause us to gain merit. Things that are negative, not in keeping with Buddha doctrine, killing, lying, stealing, cause us to accumulate negative karma. When we die, the balance of our merit and our karma decide where we are reborn next. Now, there are 6 realms in Buddhist cosmology. There are the God realms or the heaven realms. There's the demigod realm, the human realm, which we are in now, the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm, and finally the hell realms. And again, based on our balance of karma and merit, we are reborn in one of these realms after we die. So this is good in a couple of ways. One, it satisfies our sense of justice. People who do good things achieve a higher rebirth. People who do bad things achieve a lower rebirth. But it also offers us the opportunity for a second chance. So, for example, in the Brahmajala Sutra, we're told that the penalty for taking human life is to be reborn in a hell realm for 500 lifetimes without hands. Now, that's a long time, and hell realms are pretty terrible, but from what we learn from Buddhism. But the key thing I get from that teaching is that even if we do something as terrible as murder, eventually we get to try again. And as we're reborn in these higher realms, we have the opportunity to practice Dharma. We have the opportunity to realize enlightenment. Now, there are individuals who have achieved enlightenment, who have fully manifested their Buddha nature in such a way as to achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And yet, instead of going into extinction, they choose to remain here in the realm of suffering. These individuals are bodhisattvas. They are Jizo, the bodhisattva of hell beings and lost children, who travels the lower realms trying to bring the citizens there to enlightenment. There is Kannan, the bodhisattva of compassion, who hears the cries of the world. There is Amida, the Buddha of infinite light, who created an entire Pure Land that those who chant Namu Amida Butsu are reborn into, and thus find the perfect realm to practice the Dharma, and thus realize enlightenment. We can keep going on in this way for eternity, because we are told in the Lotus Sutra that every realm imaginable has a bodhisattva who has taken charge of it, who has taken charge of helping all sentient beings within their realm achieve enlightenment. This is one of the beautiful things of Buddhist Dharma, is that no one is left behind. If you are breathing, then there is someone somewhere working for your benefit, working for the end of your suffering. So if we take these two teachings together, or three, I should say, the fact that all beings possess the seed of enlightenment, all beings are reincarnated after they die until they realize enlightenment, and that every realm has a bodhisattva working to enlighten the beings living in that realm, then the natural conclusion, at least in my opinion, is that eventually all sentient beings will realize enlightenment. All sentient beings, no matter who they are or where they come from, will eventually tap into the seed of their own awakening, manifest their own Buddha nature, and realize Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. It's just a matter of time. Now, I've tried to find a phrase or word to explain this teaching as I understand it, and I think the best one, at least that I've come up with, is Buddhist Universalism. Buddhism is universal in the fact that, again, all beings possess Buddha nature, but it's also universal in the fact that if we follow the teachings to their natural conclusion, all beings will realize enlightenment. Amitabha.